الله باق كريم
من واحد صمد هاد بديع قدير وهو مقتدر الله باق
coming at you. First, I'd like to give rise and honor to God Allah, the author and creator of all worlds, universes. I'd like to give honor and rise to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who the message came to him through Allah to guide us and bring us back into a civilized state. I'd like to give rise and honor to Prophet Ali, who the message came to him to bring us Moors here in the West back to a civilized state, back to the human family, and back on into our nationality and our identity. I'd like to give rise and honor to Marcus Mosaic Garvey, who was a forerunner for a prophet, just as Yahya or John was the forerunner for Prophet Isa, or as they say, Yeshua or Jesus. I'd like to give rise to all prophets, Buddha, Krishna, everyone, Apollonius, Tayana, Tahuti, all prophets everywhere, Quetzalcoatl, all symbols of deity, of Christ-like, or symbols of God-like individuals. I did a blog before, I did part 2, but I didn't really like it, so I'm redoing this one. This is part 2 to the misconceptions of Moorish science, or the misunderstanding, clearing up the misunderstandings. And I have with me, yes, the one-on-ones. As you can see, the chart is on the back. We went into last time when we talked about the whole concept of the color of being a Moor, and we talked about how the misconception, how they think that the Moorish science temple promotes white supremacy, and I'm pretty much trying to demonstrate to say that you didn't necessarily have to go to outside this to prove that we support our people. And Prophet Ali is not a covert white supremacist or Ottoman Empire agent or whatever people want to make. In this, we can clearly state or see that when we talk about the devil, we talk about the lower self. You know what I'm saying? We say that the devil is the lower self. And that pretty much is well known amongst the Moors. But if you dive deeply into this, the one-on-ones, you will clearly say that he states another Satan, another devil, another evil one, another enemy. Alright? Now, when we talk about the terms of white, black, we know that in the one-on-ones it says black, according to science, is death. Alright? And a lot of people argue that, so forth, so on. According to science is death. According to science, the law is death. But as you understand that status, that when something has no light or has no purity to it, you know what I'm saying, it is death. You know what I'm saying? It cannot hold weight, or it's unclean. There's no surety in it. There's no protection into it. So that status of black puts us in the subjugation of slavery. Now, when you say, if you were to ask yourself to be a colored person, you would say, okay, I'm colored, but at the same time, that means tainted, colored, illusion, those type of things. You're not necessarily real, in a sense, colorful, or, you know what I'm saying, that's not really real. Ethiopia, what means Ethiopia means something divided. Ethiopia was a word given to the Ethiopians. It wasn't necessarily from the Ethiopians. It was Abyssinia, it was Kush, it was other names. But here's what we want to focus on. We want to focus on mainly to clear up my point, or to bring my point across, is when you say, or when in the 101s and in key 91, where it says why, or it says or 90, let's go to 90. 90 says, can a man be Negro, black, color, Ethiopian? No. Why? 91 answers why. And this is why it says why, in order to bring it home or clear up 90. It says, because a man is made in the image and after the likeness of God Allah. So, he can't be any of these titles because his source of existence comes from Allah. Alright? So, 92 says, what title does Satan give himself? It says, and the answer is God. Now, I want you to focus on that. Focus on that. He says God. What title does Satan give himself? Key 92 in the 101s, God. Right? 93. Will you define the word white? Now, it seems like he's jumping. Like he kind of had it. He inserted this one in between 91 and 93, where you pretty much, you can see like 90, 91, 93 pretty much are talking about the titles. But why did he put 92, and why did he put that one for 92? Well, 93, you'll see what I'm getting at. It says, 93, will you define the word white? White means purity. Purity means God. God means the ruler of the land. Alright? So, question is, what does he mean by that? Now, most Afrocentrists, or people who are very into the black power, or even Moors who are unlearned, will look at 93 and be like, see, I can't mess with the Moorish science because they talk about white means purity, and then they think about Malcolm X, the scene where he's in you know, the brother Baines is showing him the dictionary and he's looking it up, what black means or what white means, and they all reference that point. So when they see this, they're like, oh, see, it's the same thing. But look, understand and connect 92 with 93. What title does Satan give himself? God. Well, you define the word white. White means purity. Purity means God. And God means ruler of the land. So, who is taking the title God? Who is considering themselves ruler of the land, where they're just only occupying it for the time being? The pale skin. He's pale skinned, but he's calling himself white. So therefore, he's calling himself God. He changed. It's evidence, even with the Renaissance pictures of Yeshua, Isa. Colored him white. Colored all the prophets white. Even Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, they colored him white. They're saying they rule the land. They're the God. So Prophet Ali is pretty much telling you the trickery. He's showing you the trickery of title, that he's not God, but he gave himself the title God, and he's considered himself ruler and considered himself ruler of the land. They're not white. They're pale skinned. They don't come from a noble line. You know what I'm saying? They don't come from a noble beginning. Their culture comes from out of caves, comes out of barns and trodden land, desolate and diseased background. You know, they don't necessarily have a rich inheritance that goes back beyond a certain point of time. So when we talk about what institutes, what the prophet was instituting, he was instituting the first ideal of designating the so-called white man or the pale skin as the devil. See, people thought Elijah Muhammad and W.D. Farrar were the first. They weren't. The prophet was teaching this in the temples. He was teaching that this man was the who rules over here is the devil. But he was teaching it. He was saying, what title does Satan give himself? All these, see, you have to understand, the prophet was a prophet. He was a mystic. He's not going to tell you front, because you won't understand until you dissect it. Once you dissect it and digest this, you'll be able to understand and appreciate it more. You'll internalize it. But if he gave it to us up front, we wouldn't understand what was going on. All right? So, if you get your hands on a one-on-one, look up Key 92, Key 93, and compare it and really understand why did he put those in that order. He meant to say that what title does Satan give himself? God. What will you define the word? Will you define the word white? White means purity. Purity means God. God means ruler of the land. So if white means purity, purity means God, God means ruler of the land. Satan is saying that he is white, he is pure, and he's the ruler of the land. Who's calling themselves white? Caucasians, or the pale skin. He pretty much was instilling in us the idea of identity. He was giving us a genre of identity. He was giving us a curriculum to help us re-identify ourselves and position ourselves on who we are. Now, even though he may be God, or he considers himself God, to whom do we refer at times as being the great God? Allah. Is the devil made in the image and likeness of Allah? No. He is the shadow of the lower selves and will pass away. He was giving you esoterically who this individual is. This man will pass away. He is not the great God Allah. There's only one great God Allah. He may consider himself God at this time, but he is not the great God Allah. At times we consider great God, he is the great God Allah. Satan will consider himself God so he can rule. Consider himself pure, and that's the illusion, because he's calling himself white. There's only one white, if anything, and that is us. And that has nothing to do with complexion. It does nothing to do with genetics. It only deals with status and nobility. And that is our people. So, it's clearly stated in here, if you take the time to read and digest this, and you'll see that the prophet is speaking in code. And he's trying to teach you, because he can't come out right and tell you, white man the devil, white man the devil. They'll come, Hoover would have came down and shut down the whole doggone operation, like from the gate. So we had to show that he had to speak in certain ways in a certain language. You know what I'm saying? So, it's pretty much, I can't necessarily, I really feel I don't really need to go into any other reference point at this point in time, and I believe that what I was able to share right now will clear up a lot if you just take the time and go and research and do your investigation into the materials, and you'll see that there is no real move or room for argument. The prophet knew what he was doing. He had to do it on a covert level, in code. All you need to do is take the time and read it. A lot of times we get emotional, and I understand. I started off with the Kemetic legacy and Black Power, and this stuff was hard to digest in the beginning for myself, but there's another level to these things, and there's another level to what we understand as being Moors as well. So, we're all growing, we all learn, we have to stay open. We're not bashing nobody, and I don't think we should bash each other. We challenge each other out of love, but when we speak of these certain things, and Moors too, when you speak of certain things, remember, you don't have to go far to prove your point. You just got to take your time to read. Alright? Peace and love. Islam.
got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Boom, bash, dash, I had to break, I had to get away. Packed my bags, headed for Greyhound, it was a Monday. Time to start my mission. I felt that burning feeling in my soul, I had to listen. I had this reoccurring dream from the stage in a suit with a fade. I had set the game ablaze and they threw me a parade. I stacked a little change and took my family out the caves. But I was trapped in the maze like a lab rat, and at the bottom of the barrel where they keep the crabs at. No Geico, no Aflac, nothing to fall back on. But the streets where niggas cussed out the police and so they crack on. Better known as back home, where they treat the Arabs and the Spanish and the blacks wrong. There he go with that song. You may be tired, but I spit what I'm inspired from the Lord of the worlds, cause the devil is a liar.
Say, I've seen the lightning flashing. Yes, I did. And I've seen the thunder roar, but you can't keep me down for long. Cause I'm getting stronger. Cause I keep getting stronger.
Here we go. My style is like a shot of Jack Daniels, a baby grand piano, lighting a Hopkins, smoking cigs, strumming on the banjo. The son of man's the son of a gun with hella ammo. A sheriff shooting Bob Marley, John J. Rambo. 6 sextillion, 19 million. The holy pyramids say we all are lost children. Voodoo for the pilgrims who bring weapons and conceal them. They silence you with force and then indoctrinate your children. Yo, gabba gabba.